Well, how's it going, everyone? We are in a little bit of a break period. Formula One's about to be starting in a month's time. We've got the liveries coming out. The FPL is normally a Thursday thing, but I wanted to at least give something out on Tuesday. And given the fact that we're not talking about FPL, given the fact we're not going to be talking about F1, I suppose it'd be worth me talking just as a football fan about my guys, Liverpool. And the weird scenario that we are having halfway through the 2025-2026 season, where our title winning manager from 8 months ago, Arne Slots, where there's chatter about him losing his job. Certainly gossip about it, and certainly some fans that feel that way. Now, before I give my opinion on how I feel about the whole situation, I feel it's really important to almost condense everything up, actually give a history of what has happened over the past 8 months, where there's been a lot, to really sort of address the whole story, and then I'm going to give my personal opinions on whether I agree. And I suppose the first thing is to talk about everything that's happened since the title, just in terms of an emotional perspective. Last time we won the title was in 2020, and what happened when just as we thought we were going to win the title, COVID happened. Big event happened, completely derailed the momentum, everything that happened, to the point where we lost a little bit of something. Even as we were picking up the trophy, we lost a little bit of something. And then in the 2020-2021 season, we were, let's be honest, lucky to finish third after quite a dismal season. And it almost feels like, even though the events are different, the effect has felt the same. Like the trophy celebrations, a day of absolute joy. I was there. The joy that was felt, and then ruined by an idiot driving through crowds. Already, emotions are running high in the city of Liverpool and surrounding of all the fans of Liverpool Football Club. And then what happens 2 weeks later? Diogo Jota. And it kind of feels like that was like a precedent for big changes. I mean, we were already losing Trent Alexander-Arnold. He went off to Real Madrid. Not sure how much that's worked out, but we lost a good corner piece of the squad. Then we had the whole recruitment situation. And by the way, on a recruitment level, fantastic that we signed considered one of the best midfielders in the world, or at least the up and coming best midfielders in the world, in Florian Wirtz. We can do some revisionism, but at that point he was considered one of the best. Certainly the second, third best striker in the Premier League in Alexander Isak. The up and coming kid in Ekatike. Even the goalkeeper we brought in, Mamadashvili, someone who is a very capable goalkeeper. Milos Kerkez, another fantastic wing back for Bournemouth. We thought we got the finished article. And Jeremy Frimpong as well. We thought we got the finished article. But you can look at the players in the recruitment and just go, wow, they're amazing players. But the big question was going to be, how are they going to fit? Like, I know there's been all that conversations of, you fix the roof while the sun is still shining, and yeah, that's correct. You do that, but the roof didn't need fixing. We had a focal point that wasn't the central focal point. It was Mohamed Salah, our main guy, that we would bring everything through. He was basically the striker that was playing on the right hand side, and the person that was playing up front was becoming the feeder, and it was It was unusual, but it worked. And now you're bringing in two strikers that want to score goals themselves, rather than a forward that's willing to provide, balls for others, which then makes the attacking midfielder you've brought in job more complicated, because he's like going, well, which of these three do I pass to give me the goal? It's all makes it a little bit out of shape as well, because extra attackers up front, that means more pressure on the defence. And oh yeah, our two our right back and our left back in Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez, they like to attack as well. So we could have been left with two people as well as the goalkeeper in defence. It was going to take mammoth levels of coaching experience to be able to get the perfect shape and the best out of the players that we had. And the big thing out of all of this, there was chatter about performances, and most notably Canate and Salah. They seem to be the ones that were getting the brunt of the criticism from Liverpool fans. I know Florian Wirtz was getting backlash from rival fans, but certainly when it came to Liverpool fans, it was Canate and Salah. And I don't think that was a coincidence, because the excuse, let's say, of Diogo Jota's passing, there's a lot of, it's been brushed under the carpet, and some people are going, I don't want to bring it out as an excuse, but it's going to have an impact. Well, let me bring it in and try and give a bit of an impact as to how this is. Now, I love watching social media clips from Liverpool when they give insights into the training ground, a little bit of humour going on between players, little things like that, right? I love watching that. And before Diogo Jota passed, Diogo was at the centre of it. In fact, it wasn't just Diogo, it was Diogo and Ibrahim Konate, one of the players underperforming. And there's a reason for that. It was brought out in an interview. I don't know if it was Diogo or Ibrahima that said it. They were neighbours. They weren't just work colleagues. They were really close friends that probably went round each other's houses for dinner or anything like that, because that's what you do with neighbours that you really get to know. They were close friends. They goofed around together like nothing else. Ibrahim Konate was the butt of a lot of Diogo Jota's jokes because of how much they bonded together. So that was Ibrahim Konate. And for Salah, he's just been an absolute immortal over the past few years, who is showing a little bit of mortality. And like I say, the shape now doesn't have him as the focus. And here's the thing, right? We had all of that happened. We then had, from a lucky winning streak, we had a losing streak where it felt like nothing was actually happening. And now we've had this unbeaten run. Was it 7 or 8 matches? Might even be as far as 10 or 11. That has felt a bit underwhelming. Because we've only won 3 or 4 of them and everything like that. And naturally, there's scapegoating that's happening. When Salah was in the squad, it was all about Salah. And, then Salah was on the bench and Salah said he felt like being the scapegoat and all that, right? And everything that has happened has felt disjointed and disconnected. And it's one of those really weird ones. There are players that are performing out of their skin and doing absolute elite levels of performance, but their team performance is still not there. Let me give you an example, right? If you were to look on, media channels in regards to the last match that Liverpool played as of the time of recording, which was the match against Burnley. Now, you could be watching 2 compilations of that match and be very confused. Because there's one that gives the highlights, that gives out that Liverpool were very underwhelming, didn't really connect, weren't really that, attacking, weren't really that exciting. And then you find another compilation of Florian Wirtz in that game where he was doing a masterclass, could have scored a hat trick. He was absolutely on it. And it doesn't make sense. And I think this is where we are currently at, is we're players are just trying to fit together. And I think this is really worth pointing out. We had a poor season after the 2020 season under Jurgen Klopp. A similar sort of vibe where everything felt disjointed, everything felt disconnected. The one difference being we could put that down to the fact that we had Van Dijk injured at that time. And we had the weirdness that was going on where fans were sort of allowed at the grounds but sort of not because of the COVID restrictions, and it was very, very difficult and confusing, and I think it had a lot of impact on the players. And so out of all of this, every response to it has felt correct. Mohamed Salah has felt very correct in the way that he feels in him being a scapegoat. The fans that are backing our coach, Arne Slots, they feel very correct because of what he has done for the club in winning the 20th title for Liverpool. And I've got to say, I do sort of understand the fans that are not happy with Arne Slots anymore and want him gone because something's not felt right. And with everything going on, of course there's a twist in the tale in the sense that Xabi Alonso, the person that Liverpool were approaching before they approached Arne Slots, has just been relieved of his duties at Real Madrid. Now, there's a whole saga when it comes to the Real Madrid situation. It's chaos. But basically, out of all of it, Xabi Alonso has come off almost as the hero and the sacrifice. And certainly the Real Madrid fans sort of agree. And why does that provide weirdness? Because Xabi Alonso also is a Liverpool icon because of what he's done for the club. Like that, most of us that are interested in football will know about the 2005 Champions League final that Liverpool won. If you don't know about it, I recommend researching about it because it is incredible. It was an insane night, and Xabi Alonso was at the heart of it. He is an icon in that status, so of course that provides that twist. And that is basically the situation that's happened over the past 8 months. So how do I feel about this? How do I feel about Arne Slot in charge? Do I want him gone? Do I want him to stay? What are my thoughts and feelings on this? And honestly, the fact that I do not know is kind of the danger here. Like, for any other circumstance, I've normally really gone for the manager. I mentioned that 2021 season, right? The one that Liverpool felt disjointed, disconnected. I was in that mindset of Jurgen Klopp will figure it out. He just needs to figure it out. And why did I feel that way? Because Jurgen Klopp had shown history of getting to that point. Because he had built up to that point. There was 4 or 5 seasons of him battling for titles before he won that title. So we knew he could keep something sustained. And I think, in simple terms, to win a title, you need the perfect blend of chaos and organisation. Now, with Jurgen Klopp, it was chaos, and every now and again a bit of organisation would come about in the middle. And it was one of those where it was really good for winning matches, but might not have been conducive to winning championships or titles or anything like that. And so when Arne Slots came in and brought in the organisation that was kind of needed, amongst that chaos, we had, for one beautiful season, that perfect blend. The perfect blend of absolute chaos and a little bit of structure. And now we're in the situation where it just feels all organised and there's no one really doing anything that's unpredictable, which is great for us because we know what we're seeing, but it's also great for the opposition because they know what to expect. And the fact is, with Arne Slots, I've just had 1 year where everything has fitted together. I've got nothing to give me an understanding that he will be able to build something from it. Now, I want to be proven wrong by Arne Slots. I'd love it if they went on a run, they won 10 matches in a row, 3-0, and it's like, okay, it was just a bad dream. Instilling Arne Slots we trust, he's obviously done something right. But Xabi Alonso has shown that history of being able to build up a team. Leverkusen weren't a title-winning team when he came in. He had to build them up from scratch. They were in the relegation zone when he came in. He knows how to coach players, but he knows how to get the structure and chaos going. The first person that thought, you know what, wing back and attacking midfielder, yeah, let's get them working together. Perfect, Frimpong and Wirtz. No one could have foreseen that. But out of all of this negativity and question marks over futures and everything like that, I wanted to provide 2 crumbs of comfort for Liverpool fans like myself. The first one is the one that we're all aware of, which is basically Ekitike has been insane this season, has basically carried the team for a lot of the time. That's the thing we know about. But I think one of the ones that we've forgotten about is basically Arne Slots' legacy. Now, you might think that Arne Slots' legacy is the fact that he gave Liverpool their 20th league title. You might think that Arne Slots' legacy is controlled and commanding match wins over big rivals. You know, the 3-0 win against Manchester United last season. The measured performance against Man City last season, where, again, we got a clean sheet against them, we won. The 1-0 victory over Arsenal this season. But can I be honest with you? I don't think that's his legacy at all. Arne Slots' legacy, I think, is stronger from a human perspective. Similar to Kenny Dalglish. Kenny Dalglish, back in the 90s, won so many titles. In the 80s and 90s. Was it the 70s as well? But over those decades, won so many titles, Liverpool. And yet the thing I think remember him for is being the face of one of the faces of the Hillsborough disaster battle. The human element of Kenny Dalglish. And that's what I remember Arne Slots for. The compassion and the composure that he showed after the trophy celebration drama. The absolute calmness and emotional connection with losing one of his team, losing Diogo Jota. Basically having that great balance of going, yes, I miss him, but there are other players that miss him more because they've been with him more. He's been the spokesperson for Liverpool. And for the way that he has conducted himself, levels above everyone else. Yes, he's had a couple of times where he's got red cards because he's had a shout at a referee when he felt things weren't going his way. Guess what? He's human. But if you want a real example, have a look at the interviews that Arne Slot had after those incidents. Have a look at the press conferences that Arne Slot had after the Gabriel Martinelli incident. An incident that would have absolutely fired up any opposition manager to go, no, he should get hell, basically. And Arne Slot wanted different. He has been the ultimate professional. And honestly, if I was in a situation where I was told, yeah, Arne Slot is going to be our press officer and going to provide answers in press conferences and everything like that for the next 10 years, then guess what? I am all for it. But the coaching element is the thing that he's there for. And I suppose the way I'm going to feel about this is the same way that I felt about Brendan Rodgers when he was at the end of his tenure. I was sad to see Brendan Rodgers go, but it was eased because of the prospect and the actually what happened in Jurgen Klopp coming in. And this is the same way. If Arne Slot leaves, he leaves a hero because of that 20th title. But if it's a prospect of Xabi Alonso coming in, with what he has done in his managerial career and his coaching career, I feel very spoiled when I say this, but Xabi Alonso would be the preference. Arne Slot is a very close second. We're talking levels here. But I just hope that there's something that happens. Ultimately, I don't care who the manager is. The team's performances is the thing that matters to me most of all. And if the team ends up in a bit more of a attacking situation, a bit more exciting, a bit more flavoursome of matches, that's all I've ever wanted. Give us the absolute chaos and fun that we've enjoyed, however it happens. We knew it was going to be probably a transition season, let's be honest. But yeah, it's been rougher than we expected. But let's not forget our history as well. And I don't mean our history of the 70s, 80s, 90s when we won 18 titles. I'm talking about the recent history. We've been in a situation where we were struggling to get into the top four. In fact, we weren't getting into the top four, and now we are in the top four just about. It isn't great. It isn't exciting that I remember. But it's still getting results. And I don't know how you feel about that, but yeah, let's see. So, Arne Slot, best of luck. And if it's Xabi Alonso, best of luck. Because all that matters to me is Liverpool doing well. I'd love to know your thoughts, by the way, guys, though, on Arne Slot, on the Liverpool scenario, on Xabi Alonso. If you liked me giving my pathetic views, then feel free to like, subscribe, and we'll be doing some FPL stuff in a couple of days' time. And until next time, take care.